Oh, it's a beautiful day. So, before we head off to our next adventure, we're gonna do a little preventative maintenance. So, oh yeah, oh, it's a Wix. Okay. Oh, it's the other style. Lame. I like Bratz better. I'm gonna go ahead and change my fuel filter because I'm very confident that that's been on there since, yeah, ever. And then although my nice SLP is stainless, they used some very crappy clamps here, so we're gonna go ahead and swap them out. A little wiggly because of that, so I'm gonna take that out and I'll weld it onto a new hanger, and that looks good. Also, just want to, remind y'all how clean she is under here. I'm pretty sure Brad's gonna make me undercoat this thing just like we did his, which not a bad idea. Probably do some new suspension parts just cause I don't know. We'll see how I feel. Let's just give her some love. Hopefully she'll keep treating me right. We had our fun. Where's it at? So we did change that, so that's good to roll. Even tested it. No leaks. And then I had to send in for the exhaust thing, so I replaced the clamp over here. Which one? Yep, that one right there. And then the one over here was actually a GM specific one, which is interesting. It was actually for a Saturn Vue, but of course discontinued, and I couldn't find nothing like it, so we had to go ahead and build our own. So all I did was I just took a standard clamp here, I took off the mount part off the old one, and then just kind of boxed in to create like a mounting spot, and then welded that on there. So not too bad for a little tiny MIG welder and my rookie skills here, but as you can see, doing what it's supposed to. So the other part I was kind of proud of is the fact that I was actually able to make it a little bit more equal and better looking, because this guy was like down and over here, so even the small things go a long way. But I think that's really all I need to do to her. Yeah, I think that's all I really need to do to her right now. So now we're off to another adventure. Okay, well that didn't last very long. So I did all that work, and I went to go leave for the meet or whatever we're gonna go to, and she started idling funny. Now, face value, everything that I could read, so I got my wideband, all that stuff in there, nothing was off. Popped the hood, kind of looking at stuff, everything looks good. So we went ahead and hooked up the good old Snap-on. I will say, this one was a tricky one, and it's kind of because I overlooked it. So I just literally let there sit and idle. Now mind you, when you're on the throttle, no problem at all, good to go. It was only when you would idle and it would just kind of randomly, like it was gonna die off and then would pick right back up and go. Well, it got to the point that it would just die. So looking through, first thing that kind of caught my eye, which kind of makes sense because it's dying and it's trying to catch itself, as I saw the IAC kind of overreact, but then sometimes I feel like it wasn't reacting enough. So either way, went in our parts stash, grabbed one, went ahead and just threw a new one on there just in case. Fired it back up, and I thought I had it. But then, I don't know, like 5 minutes after I let idle, I walked back away and I started doing it again. Stuck my head back in the Snap-on, kept looking, Now, to preface this, I am watching the wideband, and the wideband's doing okay. Matter of fact, like I said, she sounds good, she's running good. It's just that every so often it would just right, and it would just kind of go down, come right back. And then sometimes it would just be so bad it would just die. So after scrolling, you know, just everything I could think of, I finally circled back around to just the basic engine stuff, and I'm looking, and I don't know how I didn't catch it the first time. Maybe it wasn't doing it, but the car's O2 sensor, right? So the one that helps determine the fueling, it was pegged down somewhere like 60. It would just stay there. Now, O2 sensors should always be bouncing. Car one is a narrow band, so it should be really bouncing, and you know, anywhere from right around 100, below 100, up to around 800, right? Back and forth. That's it seeing the adjustments the car is constantly making. Now, being a wideband, that won't jump as much. Having said that, then I keep scrolling and I'm looking at my fuel trims, and they are pegged to the rich side. It's trying to add all kinds of fuel, which even further just confirms that the O2 sensor is pegged lean. Car thinks it's lean, it's trying to throw a bunch of fuel at it. So, not a bad thing. I can be salty all I want, but I'm pretty sure this is the original sensor from way back. Now, like the very first time I built the other body, right? All I did was take the parts out of that one, but in this one, I didn't change many things because it ran good, so I didn't think nothing of it. But I'm sure with all the abuse of running rich, that time I blew the seal in the turbo, it was blowing oil all over it. I'm honestly surprised it's lasted this long. So for a $30 fix, like I said, I can be salty all I want, but it's a simple problem to fix. So went ahead, ordered another one. With this car, it's going to be a little tricky because it is kind of weird. I'll probably end up taking all this out to get down to it, but in theory it shouldn't be hard to get out once we get down there. It shouldn't be like most where they're all rusty and crusty and have to beat it apart to get it out. I guess absolute worst case, I just take the whole downpipe out of there, but let's try to avoid that. So, more rambling, more car fixing. Promise we're off to an event after we get this fixed. Oh, the things I do. So I ended up having to rip out everything to get the downpipe out, because the way it's designed is this is sitting against the header. So, little note, when we redo everything, that's gonna get moved. But, so there's our new one installed, ready to go. Like I said, not surprised. This thing is absolutely just crudded, sooted, gooped, everything. So we'll get this put back in there. I did clean up the surfaces. I did notice a little bit of a leak at the downpipe, so good chance to get that cleaned up. And yeah, so all I gotta do is put this back in, put it back together, and hopefully start it up. Okay, well, so still haven't made it to a car event. I did drive it, and I'm not happy that I did. Figure out what I think I figured out. Everything's back together. She still runs. Still having basically the same issue. It did have a map sense that needed changed as well. It wasn't reading as accurate as I feel it should have, so I had to spare those, threw it on. Everything's reading as it should. Yet I'm still getting those high trims. Now on first startup, the short term will reset, and for the first bit of running, it's going dead lean. Now usually that can be like a vacuum leak or a fueling issue. Well, I've verified many times there is no vacuum leak. My vacuum gauge, now a stock one will pull about 20 inches. A vacuum with the cam, I pull about 16. She pulls a healthy 16. On decel, you can see it go below it. I don't have a vacuum leak. So that pointed me towards fueling. Now I made a post and I'm just trying to get some other heads in on this because it's making me nervous running lean, especially with everything going on under the hood. Then after I made said post, I try to be as detailed as I can with everything I've checked to try to save all those little minute questions and give someone the biggest picture I can as to what's going on. After I posted it, I forgot checking the fuel pressure because I can on this car. I had the gauge right on the fuel rail so we can look at it. Started the car, came out, looked at it, and reported back my findings. I'm getting just below 40 psi, and then if you unhook the regulator, it's barely making 50. I finally got a picture verification from someone else who has a similar build actually on a stock fuel pump, and they're making 50 at idle with everything hooked up, and a cam just like mine. So that tells me my fuel pump's getting weak, which is what I was kind of afraid of. I've had the same Walbro 255 in here since, well, when I put all this together. Same one. Put it in the tank, I haven't seen it since. It literally hasn't been out of the tank. When we swapped bodies, I literally just dropped the tank, swapped it over. So, I mean, 5 years, 6 years on a Walbro seems to be pretty good. So, we can move on. And we actually had one of these sitting on the shelf. Actually, we have two of them sitting on the shelf. This On3 Performance Company. These are semi-popular with LS builds, but it's the same style. So I won't have to make any more modifications. We're gonna go ahead and drop the tank, swap this guy in there. From what I gather, so I have a 255 LPH in there now. This will be a 320, so a little more headroom. Not that I really need it, but I'd rather have more than not enough. And it being a return system, it's gonna return to what it doesn't use anyway. Ha! I remember how the heck we did this so many years ago. Assume this has to come off. Oh, okay. Wow, there's some gunk on there. There we go. Alright, so hose comes off. Probably makes a mess. With some finesse and heat, I got the new pump in there. The new pump in there hooked up. Had to heat up, really heat up that side of the hose to get it to go on. Okay, fun fact, gray and black. Gray is the hot, not purple. Not as loud as a Wally, but should be flowing more. Okay, alright, so I'm gonna do a key on real quick. So I hear a lot of noise. Yeah, see, I don't like that. Try to start and see what happens, I guess. Starts up like usual. Alright, so it's better. Not by much. Let's do the vacuum test. We're about 50 with no vacuum. Again, a little better, but not much. Shut her down and I'll do a startup with HP tuners. Well, we're not getting any better. We're getting worse, actually. Yeah, so I did use regulator off the motor over there. I got a little more fuel pressure. Still not where I think I should be. It was leaking really bad. Probably bad O-ring, whatever. But brand new one showed up. So put the new one on there. And I'm still not getting what I think I should. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and run a log and send it off for review just in case, but I'm really feeling like we have a clog. I'm gonna go ahead and end this video off here because we've dug ourselves a rabbit hole and effectively gotten lost. Now we're under the gun. I have a really important event coming up in 2-ish weeks that I gotta have this thing there. So, yep. I'm gonna go into grind mode. We're gonna get this thing, like I said, log it, and then we're gonna go ahead and tear apart the entire fuel system again. I'm gonna get her off the ground, and I'm gonna try to clear out everything I possibly can. I might even change the fuel filter again. Test everything I can while it's apart, maybe like systematically as I piece it back together. Kind of sucks, but I'm gonna have to rip off the upper intake again. Might even check the injectors, make sure they're doing, but yeah, I think physically there's something not allowing fuel pressure through. So we'll get into it. Not gonna give up. We'll get it figured out. Definitely, it's got to be something stupid. Because she'll start and run otherwise, but she's just running terribly lean. I mean, and not just on my wideband, but I'm seeing it on the car itself. So I know my sensors are good because they follow each other. But chin up, we'll get it figured out. And as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.